It is January 27th, 2017. Edible Acres. We're here at Edible Acres 2 looking at, so this will be a multi-part series. This is part 1, as you might guess, of our outdoor kitchen. And what I would like to do in this video is give an introduction to what the concept is, talk about the design process a little bit, and in part kind of record what it looks like at various stages for my own reference in the future as well. So I'm going to break this down a little bit and talk about what we're doing. So my wonderful wife Sasha is an amazing cook, and she cooks pretty much every meal we eat. It's stunning how much cooking she does and how wonderful it is. And she also does a ton of food preservation and canning. And so the idea was, let's build an outdoor kitchen space that makes her life easier in the summer months. Spring, summer, and fall would be the intended use of this space. And so this is kind of the expression of that. Now, one of the design limitations that we're working with is a good friend of mine, Liam, said, hey, I've got 5 panels of 9-foot 2-inch roofing metal that has no holes in it. Do you want to buy it from me? I said yes. It was $100. It's the very first time I'm building a structure with actual new roof metal. It was pretty fun to build with. The entire building is based on that design parameter. It's 9'2" by 15 feet because that's what I had access to. And this structure, the roofing metal is $100. The really weird strapping and joints, which I'll break down and talk about. And I want to make sure people know, I think you already know, I'm not a strong carpenter, and I'm happy to just show how I build, so that other folks that don't really know what they're doing can feel empowered too. If you're an amazing carpenter, you can watch this and laugh. You can down comment if that's what you want to do, or down thumb, whatever. But it is what it is. And so we have $100 in roof metal, and probably about $30 to $40 in bolts and straps and angle bracing, and that's about it. The rest of it was nearly free. You can see the uprights here are made out of black locust. They are split rail black locust. I'll put a link here to a video where I talk about the process of splitting black locust. Then went through and peeled them with a draw knife, and we set them with post hole diggers in the ground. The roof members, the main beams, are made out of white ash. The north-south runs are made out of white ash, and then the rafters are made out of white ash. And then the purlins are spaced somewhat wide. They're made out of strips of black locust, 1x2 black locust. So pretty strong structure and very low cost. The wood in this is $0. Yeah, $1. The locust I get from Locust Lumber Company in Newfield. It's $25 a truckload for wood. Anyway, that's the basic idea of the framework. I want to talk a little bit about the flow of this space, and we'll go into that in a minute. So there's a lot missing so far. We have no stoves. That'll be another video. But the basic flow of this space has been thought through now. And what we've come up with is that this will be the main entrance. So this is the west side, and it's the high side of the roof. And the idea is that you would come into the space, and immediately to your right is where you can begin processing. So this is just a strip of black locust, real weather resistant, and we'll be able to put these cutting boards. This is slab wood of cherry that I milled out a number of years ago. Run through a planer with a router, really nice smooth surface. And we have multiple cherry boards now that are suspended up in the roof line here that we can pull out, all different sizes depending on the size of the project. So the produce comes in, it can get chopped here. Actually, let me take a step back. The washing, we decided, would happen in a mobile stand. So there's a sink with a black locust frame, place for a bucket below it, and you can put a bucket above, so we can wash produce here, or we can wash it in the garden. We can wash it off the back of the truck, kind of decoupling all of the dirt from the kitchen area and So that should be helpful in keeping it cleaner in here. So washed produce comes in. It's able to start getting chopped, processed in this area. The idea here is this where we can wash dishes and do some things along that line. Still have yet to build out. There's going to be a table here where we can have herbs and spices to do seasoning, things along that line. And then imagine with me, if you will, this is a good reason to come back to these videos. These will be cob rocket stoves in this area, and then a cob rocket oven here and here. I'll put a link here. Good friend of mine, YouTube friend of mine, Chris Towerton, has an amazing video channel, Our Urban Design, and he's been really supportive of the Edible Acres work. I'm going to link to his videos right here on cob rocket ovens. He has a really great series on breaking down how he built them and all that, but that'll be where the cooking happens. So the idea is that you flow in with raw produce, process it here, interact with the dishes that you need, the knives, the tools, the cookware underneath, and then season, etc., and begin to cook. And then we'll enjoy the food out here on the patio. So we kind of thought through the initial flow of this space. Let me take another look at some other elements. So this is the outside on the southern side, and you can see there's some black locust boxes here. We're going to fill these with finished compost that our chickens generate and use these as growing boxes to grow climbing vining crops up the south side to create shade and wind protection for this space in the summer months. So trying to design from the outset how the plant systems can relate to the physical structural systems. We have all this infrastructure here, we might as well use it to run ropes and trellising material for beautiful and edible medicinal crops that can grow from these boxes. Plus we'll have fertility coming out of this part of the system in buckets, so we can use that to water this without much distance that has to happen there. So try and design in a lot of layers of functionality and interrelationship with the system as we go. So sheet metal roof and rainwater collection will be a very major part of how this area runs. You can see this is a platform that receives a 55-gallon plastic drum, which at the moment is just hanging out over here. I'll give that a thorough cleaning and cut the hole for it and run the hosing when that's appropriate. We'll put filters for the incoming water. And right now I'm just using old tubes that I found, which I cut, and it focuses the water from the two ends of the structure to the middle here. So we'll have a filter on that, and most likely this water will then go to a container here that has a slow sand filter, so we have cleaner water to work with. And the idea is once the stoves get built, we'll embed copper tubing in those rocket stoves so we can boil water as we cook, so we can clean up as we go. So we'll leave it here for now. This is video 1. We hope you check back in. I'll link to the next in the series as we go. And so come spring we'll be able to start developing the actual stoves, and I'll frame out the rest of the basic wooden stuff this winter. But we're going to leave a lot of it unfilled out, unfleshed out in here so that we can evolve the design based on how we actually use it, rather than imposing a design on our use. We'll let the use dictate the rest of the details, but the basic skeleton of it, the basic flow, and the basic way it interacts with the landscape has been established, and the flesh of it, the details, will fill out as we go. It feels like a nice way to design projects. I think when it's all said and done, with the stoves, everything, this will be under $300 for a pretty nice kitchen, I think. So we'll see as it goes. I hope you follow along.